Hi, and welcome everyone to another episode of Gaming with Jason. Hey, I wanted to show off my perfect game here that I have with Germany. I have, since day 30, I've had 107 units. I am now up to 123 units. So I'm going to use this as an example. This is a perfect game. It's very rare that you get a perfect game. But when you do, these are the games that you just sit back and go, wow, what did I do right? Or did things just turn out in my favor? But I was asked a question not too long ago. I think it was in my last video to show examples on how to defend against a two-on-one. And, I have been racking my brain and trying to figure out, okay, so what strategy would I use? Because I actually just lost a server because I had a two-on-one and then a three-on-one on a different server. And so when you get attacked, by multiple people, this is the benefit of a coalition. This is really what tells you whether or not you're in a decent coalition. A player can defend against one player just fine. They might need some air support if they don't have a lot of air units, just to kind of slow down the grind. But that's something that you should be able to do on yourself, is defend against one person. And defending against one person it is hard in its own way, just because you have to figure out which way they're going. You kind of have to figure out choke points, so on and so forth. Whereas when you got two-on-one, you've got two different players, two different strategies coming at you from two different directions. And if on most servers you're lucky to have 60 to 70 uh, units at that time. If you have more than 80 units by the time you're at day 30, you're doing really, really well. And it's rare, but some people do it. Maybe my strategy this time worked. So I didn't really go for ships until about day 22, 23. Most of what I did is I went after the tank destroyers. And I just recently, in preparation for this video, I have started I have started forming my two-man defense. So if I have to go against two different people, some suggestions that I would offer that I learned in my two-on-one game that really helped me kind of at least turn it into a grind for them. One of the things that I found that really helped me is you want to be able to have the ability to airlift. So if you see here, I can airlift my players. Sorry, it's um the game has been acting weird the last few days, but if you see here, this is my dome, and I can go within 400 clicks or whatever of an airport. Now I am building an airport down here because I'm going after Iraq because he is attacking me. I didn't attack him. And so he's about to find out what it is that I can do against him, and I'm going to use part of this defense to see if it can be a really good offensive tool. Because when you've got two people coming on your homeland, you are fighting. You have to fight an offensive war. Instead of looking at it like you're trying to protect your stuff, you have to treat it like you're trying to conquer new territory. If you take that mindset, it's going to change the way that you attack a little bit differently. Also, like I said, the airlift really helps because you can airlift them. They hop on the helicopter within a minute. Are quickly transported. It takes an hour for them to disembark, but they're already in a defensive position. So if you need to get to a point or to a choke point real quick to stop them and to slow them down to a grind, having units that have the airlift capability. So I have that on the recon units, where I get 6 against infantry, which is really good if they're sending a bunch of infantry. But if they're sending armor, that doesn't really work well. But also your tank destroyers, um, your tank destroyers also, let me find one here. So your tank destroyer here also has the airlift capability. So this is something that you might want to consider. And I'm going to kind of run through a scenario here, just to kind of show you a little bit of what it is that I would do in a situation like this, just using my ally members and using their units as if they were the attacking, to kind of show you a little bit. Okay, so if I were to run through a scenario, let's look at here. Let's see what Italy has. Italy has, they have a bunch of one troops, and this is a nice little grind if somebody comes on while he's asleep. However, this is all it's going to do is slow a grind because you got somebody like Belarus over here. They could just stack their units, walk through. It'll be a slow grind. They have to go kill every unit, but you end up taking over all the cities. In a situation like that. So let's just say that Belarus over here and over here is trying to attack me with Italy. Even though they're not, they're my ally members. I can kind of see what's going on, so I can show you. So if this were my situation, what I would be doing is like, okay, so these guys are coming in. Let's say that their easiest thing is to come in through Munich. Well, if I need to put people in Munich real quick, um, I put somebody in Munich, so it takes 2 hours and 37 seconds. So it's going to take him a couple hours to get here, but I could get there to a choke point. But here's the downfall. Now, if you've watched my earlier videos, you either get the attack or you get the defensive rating. So I'm using special forces over airborne. The reason why I like special forces is because they actually have good land speed when moving, unlike airborne. But you can use your airborne for this, but these guys will not conquer territory as you see here. But what you can do is you see it's already, so as you see, it got up and now it's gonna be about how long for that? 2 hours and 57 minutes. So it's gonna take 2 hours just to get here, or it's going to take an hour and 57 minutes, and then it has 1 hour for deployment. And so that's what you're going to see there. But if you're trying to get to a hot zone, and get there quick, so let's say that you have Belarus coming in here. And let's say he takes a stack and you start seeing the stack come through. Well, you have three choke points. You have this choke point, this choke point, and this choke point. And so what you're doing is you are going to have to, and the thing is as soon as these guys land, the great thing about it is you can immediately hop them over to another place. So if you kind of get and you need to, like, oh man, I need to get closer, or oh crap, I overshot it, you have a really quick opportunity to you have a really quick opportunity uh, uh, to adjust. And so as you see here, this is going and it's going. And the thing is also, if you look at the speed of this, um, oops, I can't split them. So the speed of them, so you need to kind of split them, no more than 5 when transporting. But when you split them, or normally these run at like 3. So this would probably get there a lot quicker if I would have split it up. That was my mistake. So watch. So now I need to get that tank there, and I'm going to, and as you see, he was still, well, no, he's still, um, and if I take this one here, and I'm like, okay, I want to put you here too. So he'll be there in an hour and 17 minutes. As you see, okay, so maybe I'm mistaken. I had it happen at a different game where I was able to get them to switch. Maybe the hour had jumped up and I didn't notice it. But as you see, I moved these guys from over here to over here, and this is really quick on how to be able to transport your units from beginning to end. Okay, so this is kind of how I would work a defense, is you want to have airlift units. Now you can go in here. There are a couple of infantry units. Now you can use special forces. They have better speed, but they don't conquer. They are stealthy, so that you should be able to move into enemy territory, and they don't spot you until you actually attack. So it's a great way to attack, but you're not going to want to send your recon units with special forces if you're trying to do a sneak attack. It's a great way to get in there and disable their capital city, maybe even destroy buildings, and get in there and do a sneak attack. And I'm going to start working on this, and I think I'm gonna form a video on this over time, because I want to get into understanding how to be able to use it in a strategy, and see if I can actually fit it into my strategy. Um, but as you see here, you also have airborne units, but let me show you the one downfall of airborne units. Look at the speed, point 0.1, which means it's going to take you forever to walk anywhere. These units, in order to be able to have a good airborne unit, what you need to be able to do is have a really good air-based network, because all these guys are going to hop down. Now, I will tell you one good advantage that I can already see from these guys from the beginning is that is that you can take one unit and you can helicopter them all to all these different spots, and real quick you could take over, like if you had 10 of them, you could take over 10 tiles at a time and go in there and take out all the different tiles without having to send a guy that goes all the way through and zips and goes through and all that other stuff. So that's the one benefit, the one perk. Now, also the other benefit is look at their attack is 5, but their defense is 3.3. Whereas if you go over here to a level 1 unit, their attack is 3, but their defense is 3.8. So it's not going to get as good of a defense as the actual infantry. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way that they're built and that they're designed for. But as you see here, let's move up into another. So now the speed's going to move up to 0.2, but now we got a 4.7 and a 7. So these guys are going to be really good. Now, historically, why you would want to use these units. So one thing that I always recommend to people is, if you want to understand your units, go watch the military channels that showcase the units and show the new units that come out, so that you can understand what their use is, what their intention is in battle, because that kind of plays out here. And in Vietnam, the Americans really kind of, they had their airborne cavalry, which is what the airborne infantry is. It's not airborne rangers. Your rangers are your special forces. Your airborne is your airborne infantry, but it's not true airborne infantry, because you can't put them on like a C-130 and get like 3,500 range and go drop them in the middle of a war zone and have them drop on somebody's capital city. If somebody were able to do that, then I think that this would completely change the dynamics of the game. So I really think that they should maybe look at modifying the airborne units. Is that they should either have an airborne cav, um, which complements something like the naval infantry, or you want to have something like actual airborne that can go like a range of, let's say, 3,500 to 5,000. You drop them somewhere, they can show up right on the front steps of your capital city, which means now you need to worry about air defense way more than ever before, and you possibly, because it also depends upon when is war declared. Is it declared as soon as they step on your soil, or as soon as they get into your airspace? And airborne jumps from such a high altitude is that it's not necessarily known. But these are some things that I wanted to offer you if you're looking for a 2-for-1 defense, or a defense against two people. You're going to want to have airlift, and you're going to want to have a good air-based network. And then you can also use them for offensive weapons as well. But airborne infantry, if you're going to use them, do not march them. They are only meant to be heloed in and out. Until next time, I will see you guys again. If you like this information, please like, subscribe, and share. I will see you guys on the next video.